feel like David's stabbing incident could be our cold open.
I'm destined to not tattoo anymore.
Darrell, why'd you
Everything
stab
happens
David?
to my right arm.
Had to happen.
It just had to happen. You get those
He had it coming.
long stainless steel barbecue forks. It's like there's only one purpose for it. Stabbing.
I mean, better that I stab myself than somebody else stab me.
I don't know, man.
Right.
You could have at least had a lawsuit. This is just embarrassing.
It is. I mean,
You got to set the baseline. There's one of the Batman comics. They make a joke about Batman being the type of guy that will stick a knife in his forearm just to see how long he can withstand the pain.
it didn't feel good at all.
It's 33 minutes.
It's I didn't come anywhere close to it. Mine was probably about 3 seconds, if that.
Oh.
Ouch, that hurt.
Yeah.
So we are Artistry on Earth here at Cryptic Tattoo in Springfield, Missouri. And today we have a very special guest, a Hollywood visual effects artist, an artist among many industries, but an awesome influence to me and a huge fan. You could probably already tell. Darrell Claunch joins us today.
Hey, everybody.
So, in these times, we thought that we used to do a podcast in the other room where we did an episode, and we did it in like a few different topics, and we touched on AI. And in that year, AI has gone wild as far as not just the effects of how much it's grown and how much it's being utilized, but how it's affecting us, like financially and economically and morally. But to know like how it's affecting professionals in a handful of different artist industries, especially including tattooing, there's been a lot of news with major companies like, well, we're going to say Disney and the like, who have gone through huge layoffs, and it's just like everybody's really unsure what this means for creative people in these major industries. And we thought, very impromptu, like, hey, let's see if Darrell will show up and talk all about his experience and get his opinions. Otherwise, this is going to be three of us just speculating. So thank you so much for the really no heads
notice.
up. Yeah, the very short notice.
Sure, I'll come over and shoot a podcast.
I mean, I got here in my 45 minutes that I said.
Yeah. So let's start with let's say your title, your accolades. You just hit like your 100th piece of work on your IMDb, right?
Yeah, the 100th unique title, because I've worked on like a couple seasons of Foundation, but I just count it as one. I worked on a couple seasons of Walking Dead, but I just count it as one. So I just hit 100 unique titles, and I started in 2011, technically, as a visual effects artist. So 16 years.
And before that, you worked with Clever Kaiju's James Rutherford and Gary Bedell and a video game company, right?
Yeah, Black Lantern Studios.
And Black Lantern.
It was a big jump because everything there was kids game for Nickelodeon and Disney. So it was Dora and Diego and Backyardigans, and then Walking Dead and the Dahmer TV series.
We went from Nickelodeon to Dahmer. Did you see that, Joe? That was great.
And that's where it all started. And this is what's really interesting is like half of our founders of Clever Kaiju, actually, the origin story was Black Lantern, this video game company. And they worked with a lot of unique properties like Sesame Street and Leapfrog and Nintendo. I have the Ben 10 game on Xbox 360 still floating around. I'm like, I have friends who worked on that. That's wild. And it's cool because you see movies, knowing somebody like you. Now I watch TV shows or movies and I'm just like, hey, I know that guy. And nobody, even if it was literally the twinkle in Miss Piggy's eye, which was in the Muppets movie, your first like main debut to the...
Yeah, that was my first visual effects credit, was the Muppet movie. And I got it because on my resume, I put the Sesame Street video game. And he's like, you know Muppets.
You know,
like, all right, man.
You know
every
Sesame
Muppet.
Street.
So how did that conversation, like, so you... Just real quick, how did that? Because I mean, now we see that scene. My wife and I watched that movie, and it's the moment where Kermit walks in after not seeing Miss Piggy for a while. Miss Piggy's behind a desk, and she spins around and she sees Kermit, and she just fawns over him like she always does. And there's a very specific moment where there's a twinkle in her eye.
Yeah, and in every single Muppet movie, the first time Kermit sees Miss Piggy gets a little ding in her eye.
Hello, Piggy.
And that was like my first shot that I ever did as a visual effects artist, was adding in
You're
that
like, look, I
little,
did that.
Yeah, exactly.
We do. We're just hanging out, like playing, like she's reading and I'm playing games, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, up. Bing,
Yep.
there he is.
Yep. I put the twinkle in Miss Piggy's eye. That's my
so
first
cool.
claim to fame.
That's your signature.
Yeah.
What is some of your most favorite properties that you've worked on?
I did work on Marvel Phase 2, so that was Iron Man 3, Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor 2, which Thor 2 was not a favorite, but Guardians of the Galaxy, and actually Iron Man 3 was really cool. I worked on Mad Max Fury Road, which was just kind of beautiful to touch on some of that stuff. Kind of like, as far as educational value, as part of like the promotion for Jurassic World, which I worked on, they wanted to put out the original Jurassic Park in 3D. And so we got all of the like original footage of that and put it into 3D. And it was just a huge lesson on composition and depth and how to lay out a shot. Cause we like went from, we're working on Jurassic Park, and the movie we just worked on before that was G.I. Joe Retaliation with Bruce Willis and The Rock. And it was literally like The Rock in front of a plain painted wall, like zero depth. And then you go to Jurassic Park with just layers of greenery and every, so it definitely has guided me as an artist since then on how you should put together a painting or any of that. Just seeing kind of a master at work.
Yeah.
Plus you got to see, like, we got the full plates, so it was beyond the crop that you see in the actual film. So the brontosaurus heads, you could see the wires coming out the bottom. Or when the velociraptor jumps on the floor and goes running towards the fridge, you could see the dude's thighs that was wearing the prosthetic legs as he's running forward.
It was filmed much bigger than it was cropped for theater, so you see all the stuff on the outside.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of 3D animated movies where they deliberately make it higher and bigger, so that whenever it's like, well, if we go to 8K, it's already done. We just reprocess, and it's,
Yeah.
So these are really interesting tricks, and it's, and I mean, it sounds like it's all like, just awesome all the time, but I do remember having conversations before it, and I'm going to ask, and you don't have to say what it was, but there was one day where I had a really awesome day where I got to tattoo, like, cute butts all day. And I bragged about it. I'm like, it's not, not to brag about it. You're like, well, you had a much better day than I did. I had to reduce the size of a dude's junk.
Yeah, I was doing that and then painting out nipples for like a month, I think.
Do you ever get dreams or nightmares? Do you ever get recurring, like,
not of the nipple paint outs? I mean, thankfully, but it was a kid's movie, and the clothing was just enough sheer that like let's get rid of that.
Yeah, no, that's a safe bet.
Get the magic eraser.
Yeah.
I was like, well, Darrell, it's not a competition, but yeah, I totally won.
You got that one.
So talking about our, different industries and getting to learn a little bit as you're able to through NDAs or whatever. And there's some, every single time it's like, oh, did you do that? Did you do that? Did you do that? And you're probably tired of all the messages, but like the industries themselves are going in a much wilder direction because of AI. And originally when we were talking about it, we were just like speculating, like, what could this mean? Does this mean the artist is being obsolete or pushed aside? Will people actually enjoy more handmade stuff? And like, will it be the vinyl of creative arts? Is it like people were respected over here when all this slop over here is running rampant? And we had speculations. I think we might have more questions now than what we had then. But as far as like just seeing in the news just how much like the industries that really run our culture are being hit by AI. Like, we're gonna ask you some questions.
Okay.
But before do we want to talk about like an update from where we were before? Is there?
So last time we talked about AI a year or two ago, it feels like a lifetime ago technology wise. We did talk quite a bit about there was a legal case at the time where tattoo artist Kat Von D was being sued by a photographer because she had tattooed a portrait of Miles Davis on a client.
Right.
And then the photographer who had originally taken the portrait that she used as reference was suing her. And that case was stalled for years and years in the civil courts, partly because of COVID. But it did finally resolve in the time since our last recording. Mm-hmm. And
she came out victorious.
Yeah. Kat Von D
and we were talking specifically on like, what is theft, and what is the motive, and like what are the gray areas of which, and so that's what led us into the AI discussion, because it's like AI was literally built by farming everybody else's stuff.
Right.
And it's reached a point where it's created its own thing so much, now it's just cannibalizing on itself. And the details that built it to begin with cannot be traced to their sources. Nobody really has any claim as to no, that's mine, except recently new articles are saying that Disney had just laid off over 1,000 artists and visual effects artists. Some of them have been laid off in the very rooms that they designed, like mural wise and all the artwork and stuff. And it's a huge slap in the face. And is this something that you've seen coming? Is this something that weighs heavily on you?
I mean, yes. I mean, just because work has dropped so dramatically in the past couple of years, but it's kind of a perfect storm situation, because like after COVID, everybody was staying home streaming. And so all of those places' revenue just went huge. But all of those studios are ran by tech bros and guys that do all of their decision making by spreadsheets only. Most of them don't have any background making movies or storytelling or any of that. So it's strictly a numbers game for them. So they had made all this money after COVID, and then when we got out of lockdown and stuff, people started canceling those services and getting back out there. And so the revenue started dropping, and to them that felt like failure. And so they're looking for ways to keep the numbers up there. And so and then the WGA and the Directors Guild and the Actors Guild, all of their contracts came up, and they all put in things fighting against AI. Because at the time the studios were like making every extra that came in get a full 3D scan, so that then they could use them not just as background characters, but if Joe Bob became super famous in 6 years, well, Disney owns a scan to him. So then they could bring that scan out and use him as more of a featured character and look like, so they can kind of jump in on that. So the actors, and I mean, it was all very necessary, but it shut down the industry for about 1.5 years while they fought to get healthcare and AI guidelines.
Really? Was it that long?
Yeah.
That they were on strike?
It was a long time.
Yeah, they were.
I knew it was a lengthy period of time, but I didn't really realize it was
because there was the actors strike, but then there was the writers strike not too long after.
Right.
So all of it together, really.
Yeah, the only ones that settled quickly was the Directors Guild. Everybody else was forever. So you have them wanting to make money and getting these guidelines for healthcare and AI, and so then again, to kind of want to save money, they moved most of the production that moved overseas. And so our production went down to almost nothing for a year, and it's went up to about 30% of what it was pre-COVID. And that's where we're at right now, 6 years later.
So if the creatives, is it the creatives behind the scenes too, or is it just the actors and the writers?
At this point, it's everybody, because it's all trickle down.
But if they say, hey, we're not savvy with the AI stuff, you can't take a picture of me and then use it for all of time, then they just go do their animation in Korea and skirt the rules? Or is that what you're saying?
The Actors Guild, their guidelines still stay.
Okay.
But they can get around some of the stuff, especially there is no visual effects guild or union to fight for any of we don't have rules or rights.
Yeah.
So technically they can do whatever they want when it gets to our side. There is kind of like gentlemen's agreements and structures in LA and that kind of thing, because it's been there for so long. But then they go overseas, they can do whatever they want to some extent. And as far as the AI stuff, as long as they're not creating, it basically comes down to backlash. Will this movie get boycotted if we use a lot of AI?
Yeah.
Is the only guideline that's out there right now.
Their own moral compass, but as it gets more and more accepted, then you can expect more and more shifts.
Yeah.
But that's part of
do
why
they
this
give you
topic
a
is...
percentage of AI that you can use?
In some cases, there is stuff like that. But, and they're also as a narrative's kind of speak, because nobody likes AI. That has been the biggest thing across the board is really, other than the executives who are wanting to save money by killing off just vast amounts of jobs, nobody likes AI. So the way they're talking about it is starting to shift. So I saw some of it with the Marvel announcement, but it's going from this is AI to technologically driven such and such.
Artists so they're trying to reword it so to make people dumb to it, I guess.
Right.
It's cheese with a Z in it. We know it's not cheese.
Right?
When it comes to these huge decisions, like people who are in these major industries who have been making movies for their whole lives, like the veterans who have climbed the ranks from artists or even just CEOs or whatever, who've just been in the scene for so long, for them to make these decisions so sudden, like, oh, hey, by the way, knowing what it's costing and how many lives they're ruining. Because when I was a kid, and actually most of my life, I knew, like, for example, Disney had like on-site training courses, like they had schools to teach what they do. And it was something that some, animation productions actually had. They had their own like in-house like campus that they would teach you everything. We know people who've been through the course, and it's like that seems too valuable for them to just be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna turn it into something else instead because we have machines to do it for us. And I'm wondering if those decisions are made because, like, well, I have a friend who's a tech bro who says there's a lot of money to be made here, or, well, technically we don't need these people because we've had our own AI kind of training off of their art style for so long that they're just going to recreate everything. They know everything already anyways. Is it any one reason? Is it column A, column B?
It's a little of both. And I mean, like I said, like the folks that own Paramount, they're the ones that created like Oracle and all of that AI. So a lot of the guys that are running these studios have a lot of investments in AI systems already.
So they've been deep in it for a while.
Yeah.
They're like,
no.
Because there's only like 6 companies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like we've been paying you handsome. Like, man, because I know some of them are like, yeah, they pay me really good for the work I do, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. And it's like the whole time. It's not like 2 years later, like, oh, they've been farming me and my skill and my style. And it's, that's, and then to be delivered the news just outside of like celebrating the work that they just finished. Like, everybody, hands are good work, everybody. Good work, everybody. Awesome. Hey, can I see you for a moment?
Like when we would, I mean, a lot of that stuff is contract based anyway.
Yeah.
So you kind of get used to a project's wrapping up, whatever. Maybe you'll get on to the next one. But like on the Marvel movies, we would literally put in 100-hour weeks and like everything gets turned in. They would bring in cupcakes with Marvel characters on them, and then the next day there'd be the HR meeting. So I mean, it would literally be that quick. Like, thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for giving up time with your family and friends. Sorry, but
but we're done with you.
Yeah,
but that's no secret though. That's something that, like,
I kind of understand that. I mean, it's just like with any job. I mean, I guess it'd be no different than tattooing.
It's contract.
Somebody comes in, wants one specific tattoo from one specific artist. You get that, and okay, moving on. I'm done.
Yeah. But I think they're kind of wrapping that like expectation in with this type of layoff too.
Like, you knew this was the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
You knew what you signed up for.
Yeah. And they're in a lull. Like, Fantastic Four was the last of the Disney Marvel movies of kind of the old guard. This whole Doomsday and all that is a whole new batch.
Right.
And so Doomsday is almost done. So they've got everything they need out of the visual development team. And a lot of the effects are already done because they got the trailers coming out. Right. So before you launch into this whole new thing, they're just clearing house. And they're tying it in to be kind of like a standard situation.
Yeah.
Which... not, but
and you work for you work in a team, right? You have like or are you an independent, like completely individual?
I'm independent.
Okay.
If I'm lucky, I get stuck with the studio for like 2 or 3 years, but usually it's 3 months, 6 months.
Okay. I thought there was a time where you had like, a couple of people, or but it may have been a while.
I was with a fully remote studio called Nexus for like 2.5 years, the whole post-COVID section, and then like all of the Marvel movies I worked on at a single studio.
So do you have a pretty close like network with other creatives like you and other artists like you, just kind of keep a finger on the pulse of what's happening?
Yeah, and it is both helpful and hurtful to your morale, like being able to see all of these folks that in some cases you're like, this dude is way more talented than me and he can't get work.
Right.
Like,
I honestly, that's every week meeting at Clever Kaiju. That's every Sunday meeting. I'm just like, yeah, I'm out of my league, but no, they think I'm cool, I guess.
Yeah, keep pretending.
No, that's fascinating. And that's, so what sort of means have you been able to, I don't know, adapt, or how do you handle it?
You definitely try to come up with ways where your skill set can be used in other means. Like I've been doing more motion graphic stuff for commercial work.
Cool.
While everything's been slow, and it's it's animation. It's still using After Effects and the same programs, but it's not whatever. And it's been a lot more smaller studios, and like most of the work is shifted, so it's almost all in the UK, which is where Disney's moving all of the Marvel production, New Zealand, or like Belgium. And so like last year, the two feature projects that I worked on, one was Foundation, and that was with a London studio, and it was like 4 people and me. And then another was dinosaurs in the Vietnam War.
Dinosaurs in the Vietnam. Yeah. Wow, that's a great clash.
Yeah. That was New Zealand. So
sure.
Again, and
New Zealand's the new Vietnam.
Yeah. And then I guess I did work on the shark movie Thrash.
Right.
But that was also a New Zealand production. I was working with my old team at Nexus, but it was still New Zealand. So
that's, like I said, it's cool that these projects keep coming in, and it almost seems like there's a new renaissance where people are like, all right, well, if everybody's going to be enamored by that, then that gives us freedom to do whatever crazy, almost stupid ideas that we come up with over here, because we have the means to make anything in our own homes now. We have the skills. I mean, and not... Does that pose kind of a threat? Because in the tattoo industry, there's scratchers everywhere. There's people who can just get all the tools they need off Amazon, and next thing you know, they're, just, and granted that's dangerous because they're hurting themselves and their friends and their family.
Just buy visual effects stuff all over.
Amazon. There's nothing stopping me from doing a full-fledged movie right here on the couch. I do.
We did a Star Wars run.
And it's just, there's nothing really, like, the tools are available and everything is there. It's like, the times are shifting, but like to establish yourself, like, no, like these skills are still, is there still that bar, that threshold of like it's professionalism that
professionalism and entry are completely different.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, exactly. Because like anybody can get into it, which is awesome, but it also means there's a ton of white noise. So there's just going to be a ton of crap and one gem out of it. And
that's our industry too.
Yeah, it's and it's artistry and it's professionalism and it's like some adherence to a craft that'll make those people come out.
Right.
Because there's a ton of, I have 2 children and they watch more YouTube than I like, so I can vouch. There's a ton of crap stuff out there, but every so often even I'll find myself watching something for 10 minutes that they've got on. Yeah, because it's actually really well put together. But so before, talk about like when we were kids, like a decent camera setup and a computer was like $200,000. So then by the time we get to out of college, that drops like 10 grand, and then 10 years ago you're looking at 2 grand, and now technically it can all be done on your phone.
Kevin Smith's Clerks with a black and white camera that he rented was $27,500.
Yeah.
And that was all on credit cards. And it's like, I could do that with a phone like today.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, just the buy-in is insane because it's nothing. So it's the white noise that's the cost. It's the getting through that noise. And even in tattooing, there's, especially in this area, there's a lot of tattoo shops. I would almost say there's more of them than churches. I
don't think there's.
I was just saying, buckle of the Bible belt, but that's a good analogy.
I would question it. It's worth question. Somebody can Google it. That's like,
or it's at least equivalent to Chinese restaurants
because it's easier.
Or
it's
the car
easier
washes.
to just start drawing on yourself and your friends, and not if you don't really care about the integrity or whatever. And then even though there's a lot of cases where these professionals are just their reputation and their name and really the industry that they think they're a part of is at heavy risk publicly because they have no morals to be like, no, we're just going to generate this garbage and just keep pushing this garbage. And then instead of just like, oh, maybe this is garbage, I should correct myself, they just double down on it. And there's still this underbelly of support behind it. Like, it's not even these artists' fault.
I think honestly that companies would look at visual effects a little differently than like tattooing because they understand what crap is. Whereas other people, like in the tattooing world, to them, it's how cheap it's got to be. for them to get it. Like in that type of line of work, I would think that.
Are you saying because the buy-in is like
right? Yeah,
because
they clearly see they understand what's garbage and what's not.
Right.
So they can be like, okay, this person's put in, like you would see that, okay, this is clearly not done well at all, and no company going to pick them up to do anything. Where in the tattooing industry, you throw out a number and it's like, okay, well, I'll do this tattoo for $5,000. And then you got dude down the street that says, oh, I'll do the same tattoo for $400. Okay, sold. And then there goes the garbage, and then you're left with no work. But in this situation, these bigger, broader companies understand, okay, there's no way I'm tapping into this. This is not what we're looking for.
Over time, if we get acclimated to less quality for cheaper, human nature is like, it's a piece of crap, but it didn't really cost me that much. If movies started
it's the
becoming
same as buying furniture from a big box store, and we're like, oh boy, it's cheap. I got this shelf on Amazon, and we know it's going to fall apart in 6 months. And if we bought the shelf 60 years ago, we would be passing it down to our grandchildren.
So if a $50 movie date turns into $20,
right,
and they know that the next Avengers movie is all like 80% AI.
But then, like you said, there comes the AI.
Will they, or they know it's like, it's like, just to think that 20 years ago, this same character in a different movie looks and acts far better because of practical effects or whatever. Like, people see the difference. They're like, man, to think that 15 years ago, there was much better quality than what we have here. But it also only cost me like, $20 instead of 50 like it used to. Like, I mean, is that a gamble that these?
But they're talking that movie prices are going to go up, and I wonder if that is just because of them figuring out a way to capitalize off of AI. Going, look, we can take a shortcut here, cut some corners, and yet we're going to profit off of this because we're going to jack the prices.
Because AI isn't cheap. That's.
But anybody can go in and put something into ChatGPT.
But the behind the scenes cost
hoping it'll pay off
to be able to do that is astronomical, and that's the other side of what we're seeing now today. Is we're just starting to see like how much real estate it takes to even operate these buildings, and the amount of water and just the resources. And you've got the actual people, the tech bros that are creating this stuff. That's like, this could be awful. Let's watch, because they can afford to stomach it longer than everybody else. But
the fact that it's garbage is just one teeny tiny piece of the puzzle. Right. Because if we're like, okay, we don't want this out there because it doesn't know how many fingers anybody has, and we're annoyed that it's garbage and it doesn't know how many fingers anybody has. Well, that's a fix of it. Just eventually it's going to figure out how many fingers people have.
Yeah. But if it's fine with the population.
But that's one teeny tiny piece.
Right.
Yeah. And the fact that it's creating a competition that's driving human beings out of the market.
I mean,
it's driving artistry out of the market. That's another teeny tiny piece. But the fact that these giant data centers are coming in and destroying communities is also an issue. And it's another way it's hurting people. And I think a lot of people don't see that until it's in their own community. And so we're in Missouri, and we're seeing this happen live here, like within the last year, within the last special election cycle even, because Festus, Missouri, which is a small town just outside St. Louis, they only got like 14,000 people in this town. A data center wants to come in. The city council's like, bet, let's do it. The people are like, absolutely not. City council does it anyway. The election comes around and they wiped the slate. They took every single person out of that city council. They were filling up gymnasiums with people protesting. And this is a small town. This is a small town. And so now they're working to try to get it flipped over and get it tossed out. They're going to get the mayor out as well as soon as the next election comes around, and they're able to, because they're trying to say, well, this was brought in without the proper steps being taken. And just outside Joplin, Missouri, which is only about an hour from where we are in Springfield, it's famous because of the tornado that came a few years ago. They're trying to put one in there too. And so when these come in and they drive up the noise and they drive up the light and they drive up the electric bills and they drive down the property values, all the people that live there all of a sudden are like, oh, maybe the cute avatar I got to make of me and my cartoon puppy on Facebook wasn't worth it, because now it's affecting me too.
Yeah.
Plus they're receiving tons of tax breaks from the state. And so like Virginia is the epicenter of this. And if we want to know what's going to happen in other states, we have to look to Virginia. I just looked up today and I think it said it's like 80% or something of this internet data flow is happening out of these data centers in Virginia.
Yeah.
And some of these, like Like here, they're saying, oh, well, it's going to create so many jobs. Look at all these cool jobs we're going to have. It's like, it was going to create like
nothing.
200 construction jobs for like a few months while they build
While
it.
they
You know,
build
the
it.
plumbers, the electricians, and then they're all gone.
Yeah,
and then they're going to stick 3 high-level engineers from out of state in it, and they're going to maintain the thing. And that's it. That's all the jobs you get.
And you said,
Those aren't people
they
from
could zip
your
around
city.
on Segways, just monitoring and never come
Yeah, they're on
across
golf carts. They might not even see
a
each
single
other.
other employee. A single other human being in
And
the
so
building.
they said that like they did some estimate of like, oh, we'll give them these tax breaks, but then they'll bring in money and it'll be all well and good. But they said for this 2025 tax year, which they're not done wrapping up yet, that they were expecting to lose, I think it was like $10 billion from the state of Virginia just in like lost revenues. Yeah. And so these companies are making all this money by like just polluting the water and raiding the electric grid and destroying these little communities so that you can make stupid cartoons while taking away their jobs and gutting the state of tax money that could be used for, I don't know, education or healthcare, something we actually need, you know?
Right.
And so I think it's some guys at the top that were like, oh, this thing could pay off dividends. They throw a ton of money into it. And now we're all just in this sunk cost economic theory of, well, I've put so much money into it. You know, if Disney's like, I put 10 bill in this thing, I can't let it die now. Mm-hmm. I don't care whose throat I have to cut, but I can't let it die because I already put 10 bill in it, you know?
Well, I mean, if you go through the process of like, you know, like slavery never really was abolished. It just kind of changed faces. It went from racial to like just overall class. Now everybody's poor. Everybody's working on building everything on their backs for somebody else's benefit in some way.
Is still racial. Yeah, when you have
no,
prison systems,
I'm not saying
people
it. Yeah,
picking cotton for free.
There's
like,
absolutely, and this is very localized. I mean, in general, no, that hasn't even shifted. But you're right. But it's just like you know, who do we exploit for our benefit has never really changed. It just changes faces, or it bleeds into other lines or whatever. Now it's gotten to the point where human beings themselves are being ousted. Like, well, we could just make machines do it. But that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, we'll make machines do it. They'll overproduce. They'll do everything we need them to do. And then all human race could just kick back on their laurels and just take a living paycheck every day just to exist because you don't have to work unless you really want to.
Except to fight against giving you a living paycheck.
Right. And it's like
they could have done that 30 years ago. If they were going to do that, they could have done it 30 years ago. They're not going to do it.
There was some executive, and I cannot remember with which company, he literally in one of his things saying like, our AI system is great. It'll eliminate 250 jobs in this one place, but just means those people will have time to sit back and relax and, you know, take a vacation or something. They won't have to work anymore.
Have you ever seen?
That would not make me feel good.
Yeah.
Well, do you take this extended long vacation because we said?
Have you ever met anybody who like worked hard their whole life and retired? Have you seen them within the first year of retirement? They are different human beings.
Mm-hmm. A ton of them die in the first 5 years.
And it's much kudos to my dad. He is like his only reason for retiring was mom dying. I think he would have just kept working, and it's not like he loved his job, but he just felt useful.
Yeah,
take that away from somebody. Like I mean, I had an opportunity to be at home, stay at home dog dad for a year, and I lost my mind. And these people coming up with these excuses and these lies to justify, like really just mistreating people. It's like there has to be a line drawn, and it's going to be the people themselves standing up for themselves. Because over time, the more garbage they accept as regular, like that's by design to me. Like that's exactly like, well, they'll hate it here, but eventually they'll just accept less and less and less. And won't have much legs to stand on. And I think that's kind of where we're coming from. But from other creative artists, it's like, does this also kind of build a new like renaissance for the other side of it? Like we could complain about it, or we could make our own stuff. And that's part of the thing that, you know, Clever Kaiju talks about. Like it's like, well, no, we're building our own thing. We could be our own Disney. We could be a lot of things. It's going to take a lot of work and time, and we can't really afford, you know. I assure you that if I sell Potbelly Mammoth and it becomes an animated series, you are the first on my list.
You guys could just all go on vacation and just AI yourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's the other side of it.
I know there's a lot of Disney animators that are looking for jobs now.
Well, yeah. and I'm working on, and that's what it was wild is another kaiju in our Alex, well, who you worked with at Black Lantern, you know, draws machines as he knows in the Discord. I think it was Black Lantern, didn't you? Yeah, you met him at Black Lantern. Or I knew he was. Oh, maybe he was at.
I think I just
Attack
missed,
Wagon.
Yeah, I just missed him, but I've met him since. We're in similar.
Okay,
circles.
so I think he was actually Attack Wagon, not Black Lantern.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got to know him really well, and I didn't realize exactly who he was because just like you, it took me 3 seasons of the Pen Click to realize that I was doing a show with you, like sitting like before I realized who you were, and then just like Alex, he was the key frame animator for Archer, if I remember right, his title. And I mean, me and somebody that I was mentoring at the time in graphic design, he's like, hey, so I'm going to redo my website. You want to help me comb through it and get the details? I'm like, yeah, cool, totally. And we're like, this is good work. This is good work. And it was a lot of stuff he was doing for Attack Wagon, the video game company. And then we get to the animation section and it was all Archer. And I'm like, okay, now wait, what? And it was that heartbreaking thing that you said was it's like these people who are far better than me. And they have these moments where they're like, looking for work or asking, us on a Discord to like help them like rebuild their brand or rebuild their website, to get more work. And it's like, if they struggled, like what chance do I have?
Yeah. No, I mean, that was definitely part of it. Like within the last year, LinkedIn is like where it's the best professional resource these days. So you can follow lots of other animators, lots of visual effects artists, but like I've worked on Oscar award-winning visual effects things. I've not got a statue.
Oh.
I'm way, way, way down the list. But like the dudes that literally accepted the award that have this statue, they were doing DoorDash because they couldn't get work. It'd been like 6 months since they'd had a gig.
That's crazy to think. I've got an Oscar sitting over there on my mantle, but I'm door dashing.
Yeah. But it's normal. And
that's
the
the
thing.
most American thing I've ever
it's 100%.
heard.
And when
they probably don't have healthcare.
Oh, no.
No, they have zero.
Yeah.
So
Zero.
American.
And I'm in a
Wow.
position where I could pitch Potbelly Mammoth and turn it into the animated series that I always wanted it to be in the beginning, and I have the assets. I mean, it's like I know I've got my ducks in a row when I pitch this. I'm like, I know we could do this in house. I could do this in my apartment. I could do it right here on the table. I could, we could make this happen. And we've got we've built the resources to create it. Like we could do it in house. We could make it a kaiju production. I have a list of people that I will absolutely be sending emails to, actually probably like Facebook messages like I did with you today. But like, I'd be like, hey, the only thing I do not have is enough money to make it worth your time. And even still, Gary was telling me about it. He goes, you'd be surprised how low that number might be.
It's better than
I just
DoorDash.
assumed that
it's for the passion.
Because I'm going to be name dropping like full fledged. Whenever I go and pitch this thing around, I'm going to be name dropping. Like, yeah, I got this guy. I got this celebrity interest. I got this voice actor on board. I got this visual effects artist. I got this, this writer. I got this producer. I got this sound recorder. I got this whole studio ready to go. Let's do this. And they're like, all right, cool. How much you need? Like, this much? Like, I was actually thinking only a quarter of that, but okay. Mm-hmm. And then what's going to happen? I'm going to be like, hey, if I give you a full year salary, will you help me? And Gary's like, and that's what you're worried about? Yeah. Like, you might be surprised how people are like, hell yeah, let's do it. Yeah. and then you'd have to commit. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's like, that's that step one is like, when you get kids that are coming up with original creative content and they're just like, I have all the pieces of this puzzle that I created myself. That doesn't cost anybody else. It doesn't steal from anybody else. In fact, it provides an opportunity for myself and my friends or my peers or people that I look up to. With the convention scenes the way they are, that's how I met some of my celebrity friends. Was just like, oh, hey, I did a thing and you inspired it. So here, have a book with a drawing in the back of it. And next thing I know, I'm on like texting basis with them.
Yeah.
And it's like at any moment I could be like, hey, Robbie, you want to like do voices? And he'd be like, yeah, totally cool. I'll actually do it in my own basement and then just send it to you. Oh, you can do that now. Yeah. Like that's the renaissance that I'm talking about. It's like, is that practical? Does that give you hope that you could just do this for yourself?
It kind of, but there's so many of us that, I mean, and it's across the board with everybody. There's so many artists that are like one paycheck from losing the house or the more, whatever, that really the fear becomes the thing that keeps them from that. And again, it's like you said, we've just kind of been subjugated to that point where a lot of creative industries are kind of controlled via fear. Like, do it this cheap and I'll help you out with the next one, but if I don't, you're going to get blacklisted. Like, so it does give me hope because it is an option, but you have to have somebody that can give you that situation, like can give you that opportunity that has that kind of little bank of money. and you don't know where it's going to come from.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be the biggest hurdle. Is like, all right, but somebody's got money out there somewhere.
Somebody.
And normally it's like, look, I'm going to do a thing. I've got it completely covered, and I'm going to do it out with my own hands. You don't have to worry about theft. You don't have to worry about, you know, it's a big FU to the, you know, to the AI, to the industries.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to be like, yeah, I got a few bucks I could throw at that.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I mean, it's just like you're saying. I've got a buddy that he does weird movies. His wife, she was a lead in a TV series for a while, so she's got some connections. And anytime he does a short and he's got some visual effects thing, he asks me if I can do it. I'm like, sure. Do
you have like a menu or like a going rate?
No, because it's also it's like there's you guys maybe have this system too, where it's like, how much of a pain in the butt do I think this is going to be?
Yeah.
I'm going to charge a little bit more to make it worth it.
Yeah.
Then like with a friend, like with him, I never give a number. Because I'm happy just helping, being a part of these projects that he works with. And so then whenever he does send me money, I'm like, this is the best.
Well, it makes it easier when you know that there's at least your well-being is in mind. Like that speaks in volumes too.
Well, it's another creator. And I think that's what a lot of the industry is missing is the folks with the money do not create. They have no creative inkling in their soul.
Right. And that is kind of how we work. That's why our own projects, like,
it's because they all have degrees in business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about business,
Yeah.
and it has nothing to do with what you create.
Yeah.
It's they're turning the numbers, and you're just building what they want you to build.
Well, and I mean, and you get kind of to the situations like where in the '90s you had like Tarantino and Joss Whedon and all those guys that like were the indie stars, Robert Rodriguez. Well, then they get bought up, and then they're the ones that get paid to end up running the Marvel series. So like the executives are at least smart enough to go, oh, that's talent. I'm going to absorb that. Mm-hmm. And then that works well for about maybe 10 years, and then it's destroyed. And so it's a whole nother thing. And like with the Marvel stuff, like Kevin Feige came out, it's like, oh yeah, we were focused, especially these last 3 years, focused on quantity, not quality. They didn't really care so much about quality. They wanted to have something new coming out every 6 months on the dot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
and I think everybody noticed.
Oh, 100%.
Right. 100%. It's like if it's cheap enough, how long will it? So I mean, eventually people will buck it, but it's like if it's you know the cost is down and it doesn't cost that much, people are understanding how valuable their time is and their attention span, and they're putting a price to it, which I think is really good. Especially with the AI stuff, like people, like you said, generally everybody hates it, and even in our own tattoo industry, like when there's a flash special going around, and you know, like Friday the 13th is a hobby, or it's a holiday, and it's like nationwide. People Google like where can I find Friday the 13th flash specials? You know.
Oh, the Facebook page is Welcome to Springfield. When it nears it, I will see a dozen posts who's having the flash sale. So every single time I'm like cryptic tattoo, but it's like it's this whole list.
Yeah,
they could search it because somebody else has posted it. Nope,
Right.
got to post their own.
Not going to do it.
And it's great. It's a great time for everybody. Everybody does well, but it's just funny to see just the kind of like their ads and the work that they're putting up there, and it's like you're offering that to the public. You think people are stupid?
Yeah.
Like how's that anything? And these are notable like characters that everybody know and love. Like you're not going to tell me that that's Jason Voorhees. Like everybody knows what they know how many fingers he has. Like and it's just right there on Front Street. And it's like, do I care too much? Does it actually affect them? Is there more support than you would think that they'd be buried alive as a professional artist if they to rely on this crutch so much? And they're just part of the problem, making everybody else look like an ass.
But in the short term, they're going to benefit from it. In the short term, they save themselves 3 hours of drawing time or whatever. Yeah. But that's also robbing them of that opportunity to improve. So a year from now, the ones that put in the work are going to be better.
Yeah.
The ones who didn't are going to be still dependent on ChatGPT, which is going to cost more and cost more.
But there will always be that subculture of people that are just like, nah, your work is fire, and they just keep showing up. And it's like, it's not even the artist's fault at that point. It's like it's got to be on the audience to be like, okay, enough's enough. And it's like not until they stop making sales, they're like, oh, maybe this is the problem. Maybe this is what I need to change. Mm-hmm. But if they can make a living doing the bare minimum, why wouldn't they?
Well, it's going to be the same with the movie things. Like that's the only way to change is where you spend your money. Mm-hmm. So if you go to the indie features, you do go to the theaters, but you go to something, I mean, like Project Hail Mary wasn't a small movie, but it was very like artist driven and very
had
technical
puppetry and
stuff.
practical effects.
Exactly.
I loved it. It was such a good movie.
It was based on a book.
I loved it so
my
much.
gosh.
Shanoa and I we almost turned around and went back and saw it again.
Well, I've seen a ton of people saying, "Oh, I went and saw it 3 times." And
It's
I'm
so
like, man,
good.
I kind of want to go watch it again.
No, it's
like
amazing.
it's that good. Yeah.
But then
because it has soul to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name it, but like the last Disney movie I went and saw with my kids, if it had come out of, let's say, like a studio that's less big and less recognized, I would have been like, it's fine. It's just another kid's cartoon. Like it was the same formula. But coming out of especially Pixar, like Elementals was so human and had so much soul, and they weren't even humans.
Right.
Then to skip to this, and I'm just like, it's just kind of empty.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything obvious about the animation that made me say, oh, it was probably made with AI. It might not have had any AI in it for all I know. But just the writing, it just didn't feel as human as it usually does. And I know there was leaks about like the last season of Stranger Things that maybe there was some AI writing used in the last season. Maybe I don't know.
One of the tricks,
script.
and I think that's kind of what the Marvel is counting on for this, is like the old standard was you have 1 senior artist or designer for 5 juniors. What they're trying to aim towards now is 1 senior artist for 30 juniors. And the juniors are the ones doing, there's no mid-levels. They're all the work because it's prompting, it's cleaning up the AI. And so you're losing the folks that know how to do the art that have been there forever. And so it does feel more bland because they don't have the background. They don't have somebody that can guide them and help them along to build it.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get in this weird spot where it's juniors coming up and they're not learning the tool set to create the better stuff, to become better storytellers. And so we're going to get to a point where all these juniors are technically seniors, but they don't have any of the skill set.
Like they know how to use the software.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we understand in tattooing the value of like a mentorship.
Yeah. 100%.
We understand the value of what you can learn from a person that you can't learn from a YouTube video.
Yeah.
You know?
You get people that can get beyond the tools and put the humanity into these things. And you get stuff like that where it's literally just, we've got a property, we want to get something out there, let's make a buck. So they don't care about it.
Right. And with that expertise. So like if Disney lets go of 1,000 artists and some of them have been there for 15 years, like how many total human hours, how many total human years of experience went out the door? It wasn't just, this is 1,000 people. It's like, that was over 1,000 years of experience that you just kicked out the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if some of them have been there for 10 or 15 years, what if you just took 10,000 years of animation experience and we're just like, meh, my computer can do it.
Yeah.
Well,
But if it takes 10,000 years to grow a human being and feed them and all the money and time and love and support it took to grow a human being, they just did like in 10 minutes.
Well, and they don't think that far in advance. Like,
right.
I don't know if you know this, but a lot of Hollywood is ran by ego. I know, it's a secret. It's a big thing.
That's what it is.
So you're kind of like, lying to me right now.
Yeah.
Right?
But like every time a new executive or a new like ownership takes over a studio, they like to cancel all the pre-existing, like as a Star Trek nerd, this just happened with us. All of the Star Trek things that did not already have a pre-existing contract have been canceled over the last 2 years because a new ownership took over, and they do not want somebody else's toys and brainchildren to be earning accolades while they're the head of the studio. They want it to all be their brainchild. It's all theirs. And so that's one of the immediate things, is just killing all of that stuff. So they don't have to give anything to anybody else. And again, I kind of feel like that's where we're at with some of the Marvel stuff, is they're clearing house so that this new section can take all the accolades and I don't have to lean on. Like Andy Park, he was the head designer for all of this stuff for 16 years. And they just kicked him out, and I guarantee it, so then they can do whatever they want, lower the standards, and there's not going to be anybody to complain. But if it does blow up, by God, it's going to look on them.
It's just a gamble that some people can afford to lose and others can't.
They are trying
God,
to like.
Man, I don't think I would gamble with something like that.
You would,
especially when
you would if it wasn't
good.
your money, and if anything, if it doesn't work, you just walk away and try again somewhere else.
But somebody's got to be responsible for it.
Nobody remembers. You get like after a year, then it's all the executives have golden parachutes. They can walk away and be fine.
Yeah.
And
if anything, those golden parachutes, they have it written in their contracts that if they are released earlier than contract, they almost triple or quadruple their money. Like they almost, it's built in, like it's by design. They almost kind of hope to be let go, and they have that freedom to do whatever.
So
how many Hulk movies
why
did we
can't
get?
people like you on that level build contracts like that?
The initial money.
Well, yeah, you don't have that kind of bargaining power, behind you. Like your name.
I mean, I would think your accolades would speak for themselves. Like the things that you've worked on would be able to give you the ability to put that in and going, well, wait a second, man, I've done this and this and this. So no, I think that my contract warrants
because it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
Like he was saying, there's so many people who are sitting there wondering what's going to pay their next mortgage payment. If you have 1,000 creatives waiting for a job and they're like, here, all we have is scraps. And if 500 of them are like, nah, I'm worth more, then there's other people that are going to take it. And then those guys,
I honestly feel it's going to take,
it's a bidding war downward.
Yeah.
It's going to take a real strong salesperson to be like, look, I have this thing and it's got to be done a very particular way. I just need this much. You have nothing to lose by investing in this, but here's why it's going to put you on the map and these reasons. And even if those reasons are like, just because it's not this, just because this is popular right now, and you see it going downhill, you see this is slop. People are going to lose interest in this, but this is what's going to carry this. And it's going to cost you a fraction of the cost of what you're investing in that over there. Like, okay. Yeah, that's okay. Like, I mean, but you'd have to find that person. I don't know if anybody has like the story of investors or whatever. Typically, like they got a lot of money from all like, Silicon Valley people. Like they held on to their money still. Well, and they're like,
I've got a Silicon Valley guy that
so do I.
lives literally 100 yards.
But every now and then it's like, hey, I know that you invest in a lot of bars and music venues and rock and roll. That's cool. That's cool. Would you want to like invest in something like that could be on Netflix or on, like Hulu? Like, oh, could you do that? Yeah. I've got like there's a lot of people are just like, oh, I could totally mess with that. And I've got, a fraction of the money, like, was it an average episode cost $1 million to produce? Family Guy's like $2 million, but they have a higher budget. But like about a year to produce and, half $1 million per episode to make. And it takes about a year to do a whole episode. But it's like, if you could do that for half that time and money, you get somebody with, who just likes to invest in projects. You find the right person with some money to throw around. Like, if there's enough people that can find those projects, then you're going to have a whole other culture of independent work.
But again, just like I was saying, I mean, if you were to write, tell these companies, hey, look, I want this as part of my contract, and understanding that, you could go down the line, but then the more you go down the line, the cheaper the quality becomes. It's no different than what we do.
Right.
You keep going down the line. Yeah. Eventually, you're going to get somebody that does it for $5, and you're going to get $5 worth of work.
Yeah. Right.
You get a visual effects artist that is good at what they do, and they have accolades.
Right.
Why would that be so non-pertinent to a company to go, yeah, we could accommodate that? Why wouldn't we?
Well, and that's the thing is like they would be somebody paying less money for a tattoo, something that's on them. This is more of an investment side, like,
granted it's permanent, but those movies are permanent. Like once they're made, that's it. Right. You don't go back and say, okay, well, you know what? We didn't like that visual effect. We're just going to redo this whole movie, even though it's been out for 6 years. Like it's,
to be fair, we did make some adjustments on Jurassic Park when we put it back out.
The original?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see tweaking things to that extent, but like
most movies don't get that opportunity.
Well,
right.
Because
the majority,
Park
it's the ones that generate the big amounts of
nobody's going to go back
T-Rex
and remaster.
I mean, okay, so a good example. Let's take Top Gun Maverick. Made $1.5 billion. Yeah. It just a huge amount of money. They're not going to go back and take this film and go, you know what? Let's go and tweak that and tweak this and do. No, it's because it's done.
Yeah.
But if you worked on such a film,
reshoots,
and go, and then go, hey, I want this put in my contract. I want to make this much money. I want to be doing this and this. And they look at you and go, well, granted, you've done Top Gun Maverick, but we just don't care. We're going to go on to next dude because he wants less. Like, it's just, I find that really, really odd and strange. I mean, here in our world, it completely makes, I don't want to say it completely makes sense, because it doesn't make sense to me why somebody would go cheaper down the line for less quality, especially with what you guys do. Because like anybody else, I love a great film that's got great visual effects and is just like, holy cow, that was phenomenal. But to think that you're just going to go and pay somebody less because you just want to cut corners.
I mean, more than once I have heard 80% good enough is good enough.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
People, and their expectation, and it kind of comes down to, when people respect themselves enough to be like, no, this is going to be on my body forever. This is something I should take more serious. There are people who do not give.
Like, I want to sit down with one of these execs and go, what goes through your mind when you pick this? Like, because clearly explain this to me.
A movie that costs $200 million that makes $500 million, they're going to just keep making more. And they're going to keep making more because people keep showing up. People are going to keep going to, the little street shops and working with scratchers because they don't, the reason for them to not is unique to every single person. And that's what is hard is until people themselves are like, no, I'm worth more than this. It's worth more to me than this.
Yeah.
Our hands are kind of tied.
I think that's why a lot of us that are, I guess, in the tattooing world, a little more expensive, get the less work, because it's like we're not in the business to jeopardize our talent.
Yeah.
Like, our talent is our talent. You either accept it or you don't. That's just how it is. If I have to starve, then I'll starve. But if you want that quality, this is what it's going to take to get you there. The companies that you work for, do they, like, when that, okay, look, I can make this better than what it is? Or do you just go, look, they're just paying me to do this amount of work. That's all I'm going to put into it. Or do you strive to go, you know what, I'm going to take this just one step further for them?
I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I always try to do my best. But in a lot of those situations, they want a very pixel specific thing. So you going above and beyond, maybe not what they want at all. And so they just
look at it and go, that's too much.
Yeah. Just
take that out.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Redo it.
Being the face.
Okay, that makes sense, because that kind of goes back to David Frizzell doing all of the artwork for SeaWorld. Going, sorry, I don't want no teeth, no mouths open, so just redraw it all.
And that's the thing. That's the caveat, is that his name, your name, and your face is not because there's people in movies that are just really. When you saw The Rock's face in The Mummy, people, everyone's looking around, during screenings, they looked at those effects, and they looked directly at the team that did it, and they're like, we ran out of time. Yeah. We didn't have time. That is not an everyday situation. People will go and see a really wonky, special effect or whatever. Your name and your face is not attached to it per se.
No, I can say that's somebody else's work.
Yeah. So there is that benefit.
That wasn't me.
So you're not getting awards for doing exactly everything, putting 100 hours into something that nobody even notices because it looks real and organic, and that's your job, is to make everything not stand out.
Right.
Right. Well, yeah, a lot of it is supposed to be invisible, and I mean, we're given really specific deadlines, so if we can make it look better in that day and a half that we had to turn it around, cool. But we're already not gonna or not easily hit the mark that they told us to, let alone more than that, because they don't want to pay extra for any of it.
So I got to know, what's your most favorite project you worked on? That you just woke up every day and was like, damn, I enjoy doing this. This is a lot of fun.
I can't believe this is my job.
Right? I can't believe I'm doing this.
If I was looking at the original shots of the original Jurassic Park, that's hard to beat.
No, that was, and I got a tattoo that's a dinosaur skull, because that was Jurassic Park got me into visual effects, that interest. So that was really cool. But again, we just went from G.I. Joe that was kind of soul crushing, and nobody's rewatching the second or third G.I. Joe in this, So,
I didn't even watch the first one.
Like
Sequel of a sequel of a sequel.
Muppets, the first one was really big just because Muppet was a bucket list like franchise that I wanted to work on. Jurassic Park was kind of the same way. Like I said, Mad Max was just beautiful to work on.
I could see why that would be. Man,
like,
those films are incredible.
Yeah. Oddly, and nobody's seen it, but like the Need for Speed movie, we had so much time to like really focus on cleaning things up and making it look nice that it almost felt like a bit of a vacation. But then, I mean, Pacific Rim, you get a lot of like seeing Guillermo del Toro's work, and again seeing like that
movie
perspective. And then Godzilla, the one from 2014, like Gareth Edwards. First of all, like
that was it, the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
that's what I
like
thought.
he was a visual effects guy, and so most of the time we're just a bunch of gnomes working, and nobody comes in. But like Gareth Edwards came into our studio at 1 a.m. to talk to us all because he's been a visual effects artist, and he's like, "Thank you, I love you guys. I know what you're doing. I know what you're sacrificing."
It's all about right there.
Yeah, and so he like handed out these little bracelets, like the Livestrong bracelets, but they were like a memorial bracelet for the first town that's destroyed in the Godzilla movie that he gave to everybody on set.
That's so cool.
So like a lot of it comes down to like the appreciation we actually got back from it. And like
Yeah, because it could be like an
Okay, so,
movie,
yeah,
but if you've
I-
got like incredible costume designers, incredible
Yeah.
cinematographers, incredible director, and you have all of these minds coming together and working on something they're passionate on to make it amazing, as opposed to soulless corporate amorphous blob is like, well, if we crank out a 6th sequel, maybe some people will go see it.
Exactly.
Like, then it makes a big difference. And I think it's the same in the tattoo industry. You can tell when people like really are putting their heart and soul into stuff. And like you're saying, there's some people that are just hustling. And like, yeah, you've got to pay the bills. But I've seen people put out work where it's like, it's just not consistent. Like, I know you can put out good work. I've seen you put out good work, but I can tell that this piece that should have been a 4-hour piece, you definitely did it in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it could have been so good. And you come out the gate proud that you got it done so quick, but it's like, oh, that's on somebody forever. And it looks, just everything about it looks rushed, you know? And there's some of those that you can tell from the beginning. I'm sure as soon as you pick up the project, you're like, oh, this is just, you know, something to fill that slot. It's not.
Well, in some cases, like they lose the franchise rights if they don't do something with it like every 7 years or 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
And so they will literally do a movie just to fulfill that obligation and throw it out knowing it's a steaming pile.
That's kind of that resonates with the music industry. You know, you get a 5 album deal,
right?
And you've got like 3 albums that are great, and you're just like, okay,
You
so
said
I'm just going to put out a live
I'm just
album
gonna
because
sing about this
I need to do this, and it just meets part of my obligation. So
19-year-old kids, you know, in the metal scene, they've already got their anger out after like 2 or 3 albums. They're like, I've got nothing to be mad about anymore.
Yeah, so
but
let me
I've got
just put
4
out
more
a
albums to
greatest
go.
hits or a live
Olivia
album.
Rodrigo can tell us about that one breakup for like 6 albums. And that was only a 6-month relationship. So
No, I get that.
But I think we brought up the music industry. I think like lover or hater, what Taylor Swift did by getting the rights back to her body of work and saying, no, this is mine. I'm not going to make like a couple pennies on the dollar off of it. You're not going to do whatever you want with it. It's mine. Has opened doors for other artists to do the same thing. And I've seen people just like a half a generation younger than me, like people that are in their late 20s right now and younger, pushing into like buying like used clothing and supporting local artists that they really like on Instagram and ordering, you know, this set of handmade pants over here and this handmade plushie over here instead of the mass produced stuff. And I think it's kind of like coming out of, you know, Bill Clinton's America, this like 90s, you can get all this stuff mass produced at an affordable rate and fill your house with crap. I think that they got disillusioned with that.
Right. Well, yeah.
And they're looking back towards quality and they're willing to spend the money on, you know, somebody artisanally making them a chino at a small local coffee shop instead of just getting the mass produced, you know, Starbucks in a glass jar from the Dollar General or whatever. And I think that there's that push. And like you said, Darrell, that like the line that the industry has right now, if you're in a group that doesn't have collective bargaining, The line is what's going to piss people off.
Yeah.
And so it does make a difference when we say, hey, I'm going to cancel a subscription to this streaming service that pulled this bullcrap this week. Or I'm going to cancel a subscription to ChatGPT. Or I'm going to not use, whatever generative AI thing. I'm going to not send my tattoo artist generative AI bullcrap of a rattlesnake with a cat nose on it, because I understand that they're an artist and maybe they can draw a snake that doesn't have a cat nose on it. So it's up to even people that aren't creatives to make that decision, not to be making funny AI generated songs just because they're silly, but to actually support real human beings. And to say stuff to, like, say Spotify that's pushing this stuff. Hey, I'm not okay with this. You need to stop it. I'm removing my subscription. And then they start to come back and notice. Like,
well, it's poverty is cyclical, and so long as it's cheaper to get less, then so be it. But
the corporations aren't going to make a decision based on integrity and what's good for culture and what's good for humanity. Yeah. Like, it's up to us as the consumers to push them and say, nope, that's too far. You've pushed the line too far.
Right.
And the people did that with when Jimmy Kimmel got fired, and the people were like, no.
That's not going to happen.
And their stock went, and they had to go back and back it up and eat their words. And
we see that throughout history, though. Like, the response to the Industrial Revolution, like back whatever date that was, 100 years ago, was like the arts and crafts era, where we did go back to everything looking more handmade. It's just a response to mass-produced crap. It was, we want to see knitting, and we've gone through those cycles, even like with the 3D animation in the 90s. Like, everything went 3D, and then we had a hard swing back to some more hand-drawn stuff. And but you mentioned earlier, like, vinyl sales have picked up. Vinyl sales outpaced CD sales last year. This is the first year we've seen book reading and purchasing take a huge spike.
Right.
And I think all of this is just response to this more disingenuous crap that's getting thrown out there.
So with that in mind, then, and we could probably take up a lot of your time already, but we can close it off here. But what would your biggest advice be for really, like, your own peers, but people who are wanting to kind of get into, like, the creative arts or getting into movies, or who's facing down this dragon of AI and whether or not their efforts are worth it? What would you say to them?
I mean, art is always worth it. As the baseline, the optimistic statement, art is always worth it. But right now, like, AI is going to be a tool of some form. You will not get hired if you don't at least know how to use it. But you got to have your own fundamentals, your own set of standards. You have to have your own voice. And if you focus on AI, you will not have that. And you will not have the tool set to have a long-lasting career. You will burn out and just become another casualty of all of this in 5 years. So learn how to use it. Do not rely on it. The basics are always the foundational principles. Like, I'm trying to get better at drawing. I bought a bunch of famous artist courses, the books from like the 50s. That's what I'm using as my baseline, because those guys know how to use it, but it's that same thing. You got to build on the foundation to become more than your tools. And if you don't, you're going to get left in the dust.
And that's something about the Kaiju series, the Pen Click, is that you've been a part of it since like season 2, where we're about to wrap up season 7, and you do everything from like digital art to a lot of your work is actual like watercolor and acrylic painting. Like, you do a lot of traditional painting, and it's like I don't know where you have the time with the work that you're doing to show up every month and give away free amazing artwork and then explain your whole process.
It's all caffeine, man.
And well, on camera, while we're recording, you're saying like, "Oh man, this is just this is my way of touching grass."
Yeah,
this is my way of doing things that I don't normally get to do. And it's just like, knowing that you do full scale like oil and acrylic paintings of yourself as an elf, like photo quality, like just beautiful pieces of art, and then you go and fool the masses with your, like, it's admirable to know
from
that
an oil painting to a shark attacking
to a shark attack.
And
it's absolutely admirable, and I don't know how you keep your spirits up about all this. That's why I really love
having
community.
You here. I mean, it's this stuff. That's why I came over here in half an hour. You're like, hey, let's talk. I'm like, hey, man, sure. That
I want to bring you onto the arcade and just talk about your projects. But like I said, I've been a huge fan of yours. and that might be kind of odd to hear because you'll man the tables at Kaiju with us, and it sucks because there's conventions that are geared towards, the people behind the scenes, the people that make the celebrities and their voices and their faces work the way they do that everybody loves. But behind the scenes, there's you and people like you that are like, and you're so humble about it. And you're like, this is the life. My job is to make sure that stuff doesn't look weird to you.
Yeah.
That is what's happening in space. And that scene is stupid. My job is to make you not notice how stupid it is. And and you walk home, you watch these movies, you don't even get your name in the credits. You just walk home going, hell yeah. That 30-second scene that I
Really? They don't even give you that?
We don't have a union to argue for us. So even when you see that giant wall of names, on average, that's 30% of the visual artists involved in that. Yeah. So it's I've literally.
It's not like it would cost them anything.
No,
right? Exactly. That is nothing to go. Here, just type his name in there.
Now, if you ask for also an Oscar, there's some expense.
It's because it used to be if they had to put an extra 2 frames of footage when everything was actual footage, you send out 100 prints, then that's going to build up. They've never changed that mindset.
But it's digital. Yeah, it's not like they're sending that out and it's an extra 2 inches on the reel or something.
And literally,
it's this.
Yeah, it's
just in a paragraph of people.
And you can make
the coffee runner for the New Zealand team gets a credit.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, right? The secretary for everything.
And the caterer.
The donut guy.
Jesus Christ.
Which they should.
That's...
that donut guy was keeping everybody alive for that whole movie series. He should get credit, but also don't leave these guys.
Well, that's
right.
The caterers.
Exactly.
Caterers have a union though, so that's why they're above us in the credits.
How come you? Yeah, that's a good question.
Because the visual effects industry really started as a thing in the 80s.
Yes.
When 80s unions were not popular.
Maybe that's what Kaiju will be. Maybe we'll be
so
the
if you
union.
guys had been a thing in the 60s, then you would have had a union.
Yeah.
If you were
but
back
you guys
there,
still could create one. That still wouldn't.
I wonder, could we build Kaiju into one? Could we just apply for a union license?
There's the IATSE who does the animator stuff. They keep building, and they'll get studios in. But again, we're just like, there's not enough, and it's just like with Starbucks and all that. Somebody will unionize, and then all of that. Oh, we're going to close that studio.
Yeah,
we're going to close that coffee shop.
But if it's personally owned, they can't.
They do it because you guys are just getting a little too big.
If we're personally owned, they can't stop us. Like, no.
But then with our industry though, if once you're in the union, you can't get a job at a non-union.
Oh. So we would have to hightail it with our own individual properties to where we won't have to rely on other people.
Yeah.
So we'll just do that.
Right.
We got enough IPs. We just need the money. That's all.
Let's go.
That's all.
Come on.
That's all. Yeah. All right. That's our mission. I think after 7 years, Kaiju figured out what we're doing. We are, guys. We'll talk. But no, dude, I can't thank you enough for coming in, especially on short notice. It was just one of these conversations. It's like reading up on what's happening to these people. We knew that we were going to be talking about like other artists who are losing their jobs in droves, and it's just like we know one of these people. And I want to know what his day-to-day is like. I want to know your perspective and your faith in the work that you do. And I
had an alarm. It was about to start playing jazz. So.
We really appreciate you taking the time. I mean, we could talk about this for more, like forever, but I just really admire your work and your attitude and your energy that you've given. And just, like I said, like it was a couple of seasons before I even realized exactly what it is that, you do, but we're all really, really damn proud of you.
Thank you.
I think he needs to go get his kid.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, go get your kids, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darrell.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, bye.
Peace.